Good day. Today we are going to talk about the very last part of the research paper, and that is the works cited page. I like to think of the works cited page as a thank you note to all the people who did the grunt work of creating these documents that we are using to gather research from to make our papers. The works cited page is integral to your paper. If you do not have a works cited page, your paper's plagiarized, essentially. So don't disregard this. Don't think of it as an afterthought. It is a must. It is crucial to your paper. So let's go over a few basic rules of the works cited page. First of all, you need to include every source that you are using in the paper. If you have sources that you looked at but you didn't actually use any information from them, don't include them in the works cited page, because this is a document telling me what sources are cited in my paper. So you're only sticking to the sources you actually used. All of you should have a minimum of 3 sources cited in your paper. Between the interview and then 2 other sources, I think everybody pretty easily has that amount. Also, in the listing, everything must be entered into the works cited page in alphabetical order, but you're going to do this by the first word in the entry. So for some, you're going to have an author's last name as the first word in the entry. For others, it might just be the title of the document. So you're going by that first word in the entry and then alphabetizing the entries by that first word. The words a, an, and the don't count as words when we're looking at this. Also, if you are starting with the title of a website and that title starts with a number, numbers go before letters. Your entire works cited page is going to be double spaced, and you need to have what's called a reverse indentation or a hanging indent, and I'll show you what that is in just a moment. So I wrote my paper in the Google Docs, and I decided that as I was writing, I was going to use the feature that allowed me to put footnotes at the bottom of my page with all of the bibliographical information from my sources. Now you'll notice that here they are being entered by the order in which they are cited in the paper, and that is not what I want for my final draft. Instead, I want this to be in alphabetical order. I am going to still start with the 25 facts because that's starting with a number. So you'll notice that all my information is the same except for when I get to this part, which is the actual website. You'll notice up here it has all these, it has the exact web address. It can be a page long, some of these web addresses. All I need is the basic. What is the host site of where I found this information? So I brought it all the way down to here, okay? Now, I do need to double space this, so let's go ahead and do that right now before we forget, okay? All right, so now you'll notice this hanging indent, okay? The beginning of my entry, that is flush against the margin. Then anything after it is going to be indented. This is how the reader knows that they're moving on to another source. My next source is going to be the crown jewels, because alphabetically that comes next, and that was created in 2010 and last updated then, and I accessed it on March 6th, 2014. That's what this information is. Then I'm going to put the web address in, http www.royal.gov.uk, and I can leave it at that. And I am going to use these carets. I'm also going to put this where it actually belongs, which is down here. Okay, and I'm done. Now, sometimes when you put the period, it will automatically go to a hyperlink. I want to remove the hyperlink. That way, when it prints in black, it doesn't have the underline, all that stuff. Now, if you look here, Yemen Warders and Discover the Enduring and Entertaining Yemen Warders at the Tower, I need to put this discover one next because alphabetically, that is what we're looking at. So you'll notice this entry goes on to the second line, so I did hit tab so that I have this reverse indentation. And then I'm going to put my last entry, which is the Yemen orders. And this one was last updated in 2009, and I accessed it on March 6th again. You can see I did all my research on one day. And then here I'm going to enter royal.gov.uk again. Now something you'll notice is that I have the same web address on here twice. Okay, the royal.gov.uk. I still need to enter the site twice because I was accessing different articles on that database. So yes, it is correct that I'm going to have these in here 2 times. So a couple things I want to point out. There are no bullets or numbering of the entries. Absolutely none. That is not what we want because the reverse indentation lets the reader know, okay, this is source 1, source 2, source 3, source 4. If your article has an author, the author's name always comes first. This is where EasyBib is really going to help you out because you can just put the link in and it will give you all the information that it's able to access. It will put it in the right order. Now you just need to put it in alphabetical order. Or you can sign up for an EasyBib account and actually create a works cited page through that. The last thing we need to talk about is the interviews and how to cite that. So when citing a personal interview, there's 3 things that you need to include in it. You need to have the name of the interviewee, so the person that you interviewed, and you're going to enter that into your works cited page with their last name first, comma, first name, then a period. Then you are actually going to write personal interview, period. This is telling your reader that this was in fact a personal interview. And the last thing is going to be the date that the interview was conducted. So let's take a look at how this would look in the actual works cited page. So I interviewed Sarah Crestfield, and notice because I have CRE, that needs to come before crown jewels alphabetically. So I'm going all the way, true alphabetical order. Then I'm going to type in personal interview, period, and then the date I conducted the interview. And I conducted my interview on the 4th of March, 2014. And that's it. Very simple. And then when I cite Sarah in my paper, in text documentation, the parentheses, I'm just going to write Crestfield. So the works cited page isn't difficult. It's just meticulous. You have to make sure your punctuation is correct. You have to make sure all of the information is in here correctly. And ladies and gentlemen, with the world of EasyBib, there is no excuse for a poorly put together works cited page.